Are you gonna join me? Yeah? Go ahead. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll ignore you. Hello friends. For today's video, I wanted to go through a list of some series that I really want to continue on with this year. I don't necessarily intend to complete all of these. I did do a video dedicated to series I do want to complete, but these ones specifically are ones that I have started and then have kind of just sat in limbo, and I want to continue on with them. I did do a video talking about new fantasy that I really enjoyed that I do plan to continue on with, and none of the ones that I'm talking about today are those ones. These are specifically ones that are more backlist fantasy that I've started and want to continue on with, but if you are interested in seeing the other series videos I've done, I'll have those linked in the description bar down below. Jumping into it, and this one it's actually not that high of a priority for me because the first one does complete in a way where it feels like that arc at least is done, but I've heard such good things about the rest of the series and I want to continue the rest of the series regardless, would be the Dandelion Dynasty. The first one really does feel like the completion of that arc. I've heard that the second one kind of follows primarily different characters where other characters are mentioned, alluded to, or referenced, or maybe play a small role in the series, but overall are not the main focus like they were in the first. And when books end like that, when first books anyway, it often keeps me from feeling the need to continue on. So if I let myself sit in that, then I feel like it's going to be years and years and years before I continue on. I will say a lot of BookTube has fallen in love with this series. I know Tori, who I actually mentioned in another series video, Tori loved The Grace of Kings. It was like her top book of the year. And I don't love it as much as a lot of the rest of BookTube, I think, seems to. However, having only just read that first book, I don't feel like I've gotten the full impact of this series. So I'm hopeful that what everybody says, where the second one's even better, the conclusion of the series is great, all these things, I'm hopeful that I will feel similarly. And while it is currently on a list of series I want to continue, if I read and love that second book, perhaps I will actually want to read the whole thing and it will fall on my list of series I want to complete instead. From there, very, very different, Serpent and the Wings of Night. So I know there's a sequel, and I think this series follows a similar pattern to things like the Bridge Kingdom series, where you have maybe, it's like a series of duologies, I think. So I think the sequel to this one is basically the end of this arc, but then there's also in between like 2.5. I think there might be a prequel maybe, and I just know there's a lot of other ones that aren't just the second book in this series. So that's why I don't have it as a book, or excuse me, a series to complete, but rather to continue, because I know there's a lot of other things mixed in and I don't quite know the significance and the reading order. I think I need to look into that a little bit more. Regardless, I did like this first one and it left off on a cliffhanger, so I feel like I need to get around to the next one. After that, we have one that I can see it being considered a standalone and just a series of standalones. So I wasn't sure whether I should put this on just a general TBR or consider it a series, but in my head it's a series, and that would be Paladin's Grace. So Paladin's Grace is the first one, and then there's, I think, Paladin's Hope and something else. I've read the first one, and this is a trend you see with a lot of romance, fantasy romance, where in the first book you will see a certain couple be the focus and there will be side characters in that book, and then in the next one you will see the love story of the side characters and so on and so on. And I think that's the case with this series. I've seen some people really like the sequels more than the first. I thought the first one was fun. It's not my favorite T. Kingfisher, but I just want to read more T. Kingfisher, so and I feel like this would be a good one to pick up in February if I get the chance. After that, we have Green Rider. So I don't know why I did this, but I really liked the first book. It was so cozy and it was exactly what I want from classic feeling fantasy books. And I have mentioned in talking about this one before that as a series that has kind of taken a while to come out, I think we're on the 8th book, but as a result of it coming out over the years, I can imagine that there's a shift maybe in tone and writing style in how the characters are written, and I think that's going to be really interesting to see. So while I don't know that I'll get caught up, I would love to get caught up with this series. So I'm going to try to actually do that as best I can. I can't say I want to complete it because, I don't know, maybe I'll get halfway through the series and I won't really like it, or maybe I'll get all the way through what's out, and then I'll be waiting for the next one. It's not yet done, so I can't actually say I would complete it, but fingers crossed that I can get around to reading as much of the series as possible. And also, with so many books out, I'm really hopeful that I'll continue to like each installment just as much, if not more, than the first, and just be that much more excited. Because anytime you find a series and there's a lot of books and you like the series, that's just such a good feeling. From there, we have Valdemar. I actually included Valdemar on my list of series I want to complete as far as the last Herald Mage. So what I'm planning to do, and to clarify, I want to read all of the last Herald Mage trilogy, and then I think that's the name of the trilogy, is Last Herald Mage. Like Magic's Pawn, I think, is the first book. And then once I've completed that one, if you heard something vibrating, my husband was calling me to ask me about groceries for dinner. So anyway, back to Last Herald Mage and Valdemar in general. So I plan to complete Last Herald Mage, and because this is an enormous world, then I want to continue with Valdemar, but whatever series I get into after that, if that makes sense. So even if it's only the first book in the next series, in my head that's continuing Valdemar, but I want to specifically continue on after Last Herald Mage. Hopefully that made sense. From there, I'm forgetting what the Gideon series is called, but the first one is Gideon the Ninth. I would like to read a fair amount of this one. I know that the series isn't completed yet. I don't know how I'll feel if I get caught up. I don't know if I'll love it so much that I absolutely have to read the whole series, but it's definitely one that I want to keep going with. Another one would be, and this is not as high of priority because I feel like if I get back into this one, I'll want to read all of it, and that would be Temeraire. So I kind of just want to reread the first and then maybe the second if I can. It's really not as high priority because there's a lot of books in this series, and I just don't know if I'm going to end up reading all of them this year. What I'm saying is I would like to, but I don't know if I would realistically be able to fit them all in with all the other things I want to pick up. Another one would be Keeper of the Lost Cities. This was on my list of books to continue on with, or my series to continue on with last year, and I just kept putting it aside and I never got around to it. And it's just so fun and cute, so I would really like to keep going, especially because my nieces, one in particular, really likes to read, and I think that it would be really fun if I could give her this recommendation. So Keeper of the Lost Cities is up there. There's a lot of other series that I would love to continue on with, and this is, like I said, not considering all the new fantasy that's going to be coming out that are technically continuations of series. And by continuations, I mean like the next book in the series, not a series that's been completed and then there's continuation. I probably didn't need to clarify that, but just to be more specific. Regardless, there's a lot, and we'll see. I had on my list of goals this year to not give myself too many TBRs, not overplan and things like that, and I can't resist. It's just so much more helpful for me when I lay out and I have some kind of blueprint for myself. So I think I can do it, though. I don't think I'm pushing myself too intensely. I think the series that I plan to complete, I can very realistically do, and I think I can realistically continue with these ones. I think Temeraire maybe might be lower. Dandelion Dynasty also, I feel like, is a little lower because of how I described the first one ending. But anyway, that's it for a list of books in series that I hope to continue on with. Let me know, what are your goals for this year? What are your goals for series? Are you hoping to start new series, continue series, finish series? Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you later. Bye.